Huawei getting into gaming, it's more like, who are you, right? I'll show myself out. This right here is Huawei's first time dabbling with the gaming market, and what has been produced is a 34-inch ultra-wide gaming monitor boasting a 1440p resolution and a 165Hz refresh rate. From first impressions, it looks pretty remarkable, and it's definitely a welcome sight, having a newcomer to this arena. So with all that being said, let's dive into what's on offer with the Huawei MateView GT gaming monitor. The Huawei MateView GT gaming monitor is an ultra-wide display with a resolution of 3440 by 1440p and an aspect ratio of 21:9, and is surrounded by very slim bezels, except of course the bottom bezel, which is to be expected from any monitor. The screen uses VA technology and is rated 1500R, which isn't the sharpest curve you can get in a gaming monitor, and 1000R curves are becoming slightly more commonplace, but it's enough to add a pinch of immersion to your FPS and sim racing games. At 34 inches though, the sides of the screen were wide enough to sit in my peripheral vision, which is again great for added immersion. And the material used here for the panel was actually pretty decent at reducing glare. Bezels are a little thick and are noticeable when standing away from the monitor, but don't cause issues when you're sitting at your desk. It's a far cry from monitors of old, but definitely not as slim as some of the more luxury Dell monitors coming out. The major standout feature though of this particular monitor is the built-in speaker attached to the base of the stand. Rather than the standard base found on the MateView, it's been replaced with a cylindrical speaker. And for a speaker built into a stand and acts really like a small desk soundbar, it's not going to blow you away with big boomy audio, but if you're wanting to watch a few YouTube videos or Netflix while you're working, it produces some clear audio for voices. It's far better than probably every single other monitor with built-in speakers that I've tested so far anyway, so they've done a great job here. It lights up in a number of different colors and patterns depending on your style and color scheme, which is a nice touch. And speaking of touch, you can raise and lower the volume by sliding your fingers on the light or tapping to mute. The only nitpick though is that you can't tuck your keyboard underneath the monitor, as the speaker is very thick. There's also a dual microphone setup on top too, which can pick up your voice from up to 4 meters away, which is absolutely ideal for those of you working at a desk and conference calling and all of that kind of jazz with Zoom and Teams and that kind of thing. But they sound as you'd expect any budget webcam to sound. It's passable for a Zoom meeting, but you're not going to want to use them for your live streams. It almost feels like an afterthought for all of us working from home. Get them on there to appeal to the wider audience, rather than just gamers. But hey, they're there, and if you use them, great, but I wouldn't blame you if you just ignore them. The stand itself though is pretty plain. It has a half-cylinder design, lacks cable management, and is mostly made from plastic. The circular plate attaches to the monitor on a clip and feels pretty sturdy, and I wasn't worried about the monitor tipping or breaking. The whole thing is pretty sturdy, so no worries giving it a knock, and overall it looks quite smart on my desk, though you are going to need a big footprint for it. The MateView GT's width overall sits at around 82 centimeters, which is pretty wide. It can be wall mounted too, as it's got a standard VESA compatibility. The monitor while on the stand can tilt and move up and down, but there's no panning, so you'll have to angle the whole unit if you want it on a slant. Around the back you can find 2 HDMI 2.0 inputs and 1 DisplayPort. There's also 2 USB Type-C inputs, one of which is for dedicated power and the other is for video. And finally a 3.5mm jack input for external audio sources. There's a nice plastic vanity plate that hides the inputs but does nothing really for cable management once the cables have left the monitor. Well, it's really not bad going so far. Seeing as Huawei are mainly known for their phones and laptops, this is their first attempt at anything gamery really. And to let you know now, I tested the monitor with an RTX 3070 Founders Edition, so depending on your graphics card, your mileage may vary when trying to hit the 1440p ultra-wide resolutions at higher refresh rates. But diving into the more technical side of things, and the Huawei MateView GT in terms of color reproduction was actually very good, achieving 100% sRGB coverage, 83% Adobe RGB, 90% P3 and 80% NTSC color gamuts. It also produced an average of 0.98 on a Delta E score, only falling down really when trying to achieve teal-like colors, which again is very impressive. And at 100% brightness, we saw a 3070 to 1 contrast ratio. Where it did fall down though is with color uniformity, where you can see at 100% brightness, dark spots appeared in the lower corners and a hot spot at the top in the middle. But lowering the overall screen brightness did help with this, but it still tracked. However, saying all of this, in reality, I never noticed or had any complaints with it while gaming or watching media. So while these measurements are what my data color Spider X produced, it didn't affect my day-to-day use of this monitor. I was still very impressed with its performance. In terms of performance though, in real life, I absolutely loved it. I am finding myself enjoying ultra-wide monitors more and more these days, and the added immersion I get from games, especially those compatible with the ultra-wide resolutions, is absolutely superb. My favorite so far has got to be Formula 1 2021 and its cockpit view. It felt great bobbing it around Portimao. And I also tried some Star Wars Battlefront 2 and some Rocket League and even Raft, believe it or not, over on the TechNuovo Twitch channel, and even that felt super immersive. I didn't notice any screen tearing either throughout my time at testing it, and the colors after I ran it through a calibration using my data color Spider X again, everything looked fantastic. I must admit though, these size monitors aren't really for the competitive gamer out there, purely because not all of the screen is in direct eyesight at once, though a game of Warzone or Valorant is still hugely possible and very enjoyable. There are also a few gaming focused features inside of the OSD 2 when you dive into the menus, which include dark field control, which brightens dark areas inside of games to see people hiding in the shadows, as well as a crosshair you can put on the center of the screen in green and red. Huawei has offered an overdrive setting in the menu which combats blurring in motion, which does help somewhat, though if you go all the way up to level 4, things do start looking a bit artificial. And if you go down to 0, then you can start to notice blur in faster paced titles. Doom Eternal, I'm looking at you, bro. It's not as refined as other monitors, and that can come down to the fact that it's playing with a 4 millisecond response time as opposed to the 1 millisecond response times other gaming monitors are able to hit. Single player third person titles though, like Red Dead or Horizon Zero Dawn, looked absolutely great, and I couldn't fault this monitor. Or racing games like Forza or something like Flight Sim, they just all looked awesome. Now, other menu features include color changes for your brightness, contrast, temperature, and a low blue light feature, and sound, which changes the audio of the speaker in the monitor, the one in the stand. I'm going to say now, Huawei has just absolutely smashed their first gaming monitor. Now sure, they've got other screens on the market, but for gaming focused screens with great resolution and refresh rate capability and no noticeable input lag, I'm very impressed. I'm not a huge fan of the speaker on the bottom of the stand and would have preferred just a simple kind of T-stand, but I suppose to some it would be useful. Everyday performance for work when editing videos on Premiere Pro or even gaming, this monitor shone through all tasks thrown at it. It will cost around £499 on the Huawei website when released, so expect other retailers to match that, and it also puts it in line with most other ultra-wides out there at the moment, so there are no complaints there either. So thank you very much for checking out this video review of the Huawei MateView GT. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to keep up with our latest tech and gaming videos. Also, let us know in the comments down below if you are going to be picking up one of the Huawei MateView GT monitors, or there are other ultra-wides out there that you like the look of that are comparable to this. Let us know in the comments down below. Let's start a conversation. Also, as mentioned earlier, we do stream over on Twitch, twitch.tv/TechNuovo, where you can find us there at 8:30 p.m. onwards UK time on Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays every week, unless we're doing something else, of course, but we'll let you know if that is the case. But if you've got any questions about this monitor, about monitors in general, or gaming, or just want to come and say hi, then the link is down in the description for that as well. As I said, thanks very much for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.